Welcome to my channel. Viewer discretion is advised for this one, because some people might find this story disturbing or triggering. The author of this story wishes to remain anonymous. My boyfriend and I were living in our first home together. We had just moved into this house, so we were still unpacking boxes. And when we finished work, we would come home and do that every night until everything was set up the way we wanted it. But sometimes we would just get too tired from work and fall asleep on the couch. So we'd put on a movie and sleep there until morning. This particular night, we did exactly that. Fell asleep pretty quickly. I remember staring at the TV and then I could feel myself getting drowsy. I remember thinking, well, I guess I'm going to sleep here tonight. I felt my boyfriend shift next to me and wrap his arm around my waist. I turned my head to look at him and his face was right over my shoulder. So I quickly turned back to the TV before falling asleep. I must have slept for 4 or 5 hours because when I woke up, the sun was shining through the window and hitting my eyes. I blinked and turned my head to try and get away from the light, and that's when I saw it. My reflection in the TV screen. It was showing my face with one eye open, but I was looking at the screen with both eyes closed. My left eye was half open, but the rest of my face was peacefully sleeping. I tried to rub the sleep out of my eyes, but nothing came out. I sat up and got out of the couch. Then I walked to the bathroom and stared at my reflection in the mirror. Both eyes were open, and I looked perfectly normal. I went to my bedroom and woke up my boyfriend. He stretched and yawned. Then he looked at me and asked what was wrong. I told him about what I saw. He laughed and said, "Well, obviously you were dreaming and you didn't even cover your mouth when you screamed." I told him I was undreaming, because I felt him wrap his arms around me and hold me while I was sleeping. He got up and went to the bathroom to wash his face, and I followed him. He looked at the mirror and asked if I looked okay. I could see that my right eye was half open, just like it was in the TV. I don't know why I thought this, but for some reason I felt compelled to cover my left eye with my hand. When I did that, he noticed something. He started making funny faces at me, and I was laughing. I removed my hand and my eye was fully open again. I was starting to freak out a little bit, but I hid it from him and asked if he thought I needed to go to the hospital. He told me I was being ridiculous. Said I was probably just tired and my body was reacting to it. I thanked him for being so understanding and supportive. And he just gave me a quick kiss and went to take a shower. I stood there watching him for a second until he looked at me and asked what was wrong. Again, I told him that I was fine. He smiled and went back to showering. I think he was trying to hide his smile, but I could see it anyway. He was enjoying this whole thing way too much. When he got out of the shower, I was gone. I had driven to the doctor's office without waking him up. When the doctor looked at my eye, he told me that there was no damage to my cornea, and he also told me that I didn't have an infection or any other type of injury. Basically, my eye was healthy. He gave me a prescription for some lubricating drops and told me to use them twice a day. He said they would help keep my eye moist and would prevent it from drying out. He also told me to come back in a week just to make sure everything was all right. On my way back home, I called my boyfriend and asked him to come with me so I could show him the prescription. He said he couldn't come because he had to work. So I told him I'd bring the prescription next time I saw him. As soon as I got home, I took the lubricating drops. I felt the cool liquid hitting my eye, and I blinked a couple times. That's when I noticed that the world seemed sharper somehow. Everything was more colorful and defined. I could see things in my peripheral vision that I'd never noticed before. I could hear things more clearly, and the sounds were deeper. I walked to the mirror and stared at my reflection. I looked better. In fact, I looked beautiful. The following days passed by very quickly. I was so caught up with the changes in my eye that I completely forgot about the previous night. I went to the store, watched movies, talked to my friends and siblings. Every time I looked at people's faces, I could see things that I've never seen before. The wrinkles, the pores, the blood vessels. I could see everything. It was Saturday night and I was having dinner with my boyfriend. We were eating takeout and watching TV. I didn't tell him yet about the changes in my eye, but now I felt comfortable enough to let him know. I told him everything that happened after the doctor's visit, and he didn't believe me at first. He thought I was joking. I pressed on his arm and asked him to please believe me. I knew he wouldn't take me back to the doctor if I didn't convince him, so I had to play my cards right. I told him that I had not been honest with him before, and I admitted that I had taken something that was unprescribed to me. His face immediately changed. He became serious and stopped eating. He grabbed my hands and asked me what I had taken. I told him it was the lubricating drops the doctor gave me. I told him I wasn't crazy, but everything was different now. And I was scared that I would lose him if he didn't see it for himself. He looked at me for a moment, then he relaxed his grip and sighed. He said I was crazy and that he would go with me to the doctor. When we got to the doctor's office, he explained everything to the doctor. I was hoping that the doctor would take us seriously, but he just laughed and told us that those drops weren't strong enough to cause all the changes that I was describing. He asked us if we were sure I didn't take anything else. And that's when I remembered the pills. So the doctor gave me an antibiotic for the eye drops, but I also had a bottle of painkillers. I didn't tell my boyfriend about those because I didn't want him to worry. But when the doctor looked inside my eye, his expression changed. He asked how long I had been taking the painkillers, and I told him only 2 pills. He told my boyfriend that we needed to leave immediately and go to the emergency room. When we got to the hospital, the doctors told us that I had an adverse reaction to the painkillers. They said that the pills affected my optic nerve and that's why my eyes stopped working properly. After 3 days of observation and treatment, my vision returned to normal. My boyfriend told me he was glad that I was okay, but I knew he was disappointed in me. I had caused all of this by myself, and I lost his trust. And even though I was physically okay, I wasn't mentally okay. The doctor said that the trauma I had experienced was probably what caused me to start hallucinating. I tried to explain to them what I meant, but they just kept telling me that I was creating imaginary situations in my head. They said I was making up stories to justify my actions. After everything that happened, my boyfriend and I broke up. I was on my own, and I felt miserable. The incident with my eye made me realize how fragile the mind can be. I thought I was strong, but I was wrong. To this day, I still have nightmares about that experience. I hope that by sharing my story, I can raise awareness about mental health issues. Thank you for listening, and have a good night.